apparently the Hangout on air is live. Blink twice if you guys can hear this. No one's blinking. That must mean that it's not working.
Continuous country.
Fantastic. Okay. We have a little bit of liftoff. I have no idea how long I'm going to go for, if at all, because this is difficult. Let's take a little peek ski. So we already went through Toronto, Milwaukee, and I think that CJ will yell at me if I didn't tell him I was streaming live. And was only broadcasting to the 3 or 4 people in chat that happened to stop by. Live look at CJ. It's pretty much what he sounds like all the time. Okay. Let me, man, got like a million links open. Okay. So look through Milwaukee, Toronto. We kind of said, go back to the well on a Thon Maker, who still potentially could be underpriced, I think, based on the production. Play some Damar. I would consider Ibaka. I'm going to leave him out for now because I don't think he's so paramount, and there could be more power forwards that we're interested in. But on to the next game.
Wall gets a screen. Baseline. Got it! John Wall with 5 seconds on the clock. Gives Washington the lead by 2. Another clutch fourth quarter field goal from the Wall star.
Oh, was I supposed to tell you? Was I supposed to tell you that I did listen to the directions? Are you talking? Oh, wait. CJ, can you hear me? CJ, can you hear me? If you refresh the live streaming, it's on the main page. I did exactly what he told me. He said, press the link button. Press the link button. I pressed the link button. That's the link. That's the link it gave me. It's working. Everybody that pressed the link can hear me. Allegedly. Except CJ, because he hasn't pressed the link, I don't think. Can you hear me, CJ? Can you hear me? Testing, testing. Check 2 1 2. Everybody in the house. Yo, I'm with you. PML on the mic, got something to say. Gonna spit off the top like I spit when I spray. Mother effers better get out. Gonna pray when they see me, cause I'm gonna leave you slayed. Oh, okay. He was just talking. He was just talking about the fact that I didn't give him the link. Aha, it is on the main page. Righto then. Off to another exciting wonderland of enticement. So this is the popcorn machine. The popcorn machine takes the box scores and play-by-play data from the games and just runs it through this little interface. So it kind of helps you get a nice full picture of what happened in the game. These are the players. This is the minutes. The first number is actual points scored. The second number is peripheral stats. So we'll see that he scored 12 points. And it goes by net peripheral stats. So turnovers count as -1, which I hate because I really don't care about the turnovers necessarily. Uh, and I do wish that they would put all 3 stats, but they can't do it because like for example, when it's like short like this, doesn't fit. Yeah, but Markieff Morris, son of a bitch, and I hate him because he was way too cheap, and I was forced onto just a ton of him. Yeah, did not like that. Did not like that one bit. But I don't know. I don't know specifically on Markieff if it's a situation we want to go straight back to the well, because I do think he probably still be popular. He probably will still be popular. Um, Not the most tech savvy guy ever. Yeah, I just literally have set up the most profound fucking rig ever. Like, like you don't understand the crazy amount of proficiency it took to. I mean, look at this stuff. Look at this. Wait for this. This out. I got fake soundboards. I have tricked my computer into thinking that it has multiple audio inputs that are being forced through extra outputs. Oh yeah, super fun. I was pulling my freaking hair out trying to get that set up. Um, okay, so we are thinking about maybe going back to the well on Markieff Morris. I believe we had talked about uh, before that slate started, and I don't remember if there was an accompanying pod or not. We talked about correlating some Paul Millsap shares with a Markieff Morris fade, um, because we kind of thought that those things would go hand in hand. That Millsap would succeed if Markieff Morris was forced out of the game with foul trouble. And well, I'll be friggin' damned. Let's see. When is the first? So this was Paul Millsap's uh, big outing, right? Was this third quarter? Didn't do anything. Didn't do anything until 8:45. He had a made free throw. Let's see. Markieff Morris played until 8:49 that quarter and was out with foul trouble. Go figure. Go friggin' figure. So I honestly I think the analysis is exactly the same. I think you can play either Markieff Morris, that is now elevated price tag. And last time I said, God, I wish Markieff Morris was 5'8" or above so I didn't have to play him. Exactly 5'8". But yeah, Paul Millsap had a great game. I think people are going to see that. I am unsure if everyone's going to jump on board. Look at this, 15. But he fouled out the whole team almost. Um, but one thing that stood out to me for Millsap is how god freaking awful Dwight Howard was playing and has been playing. Look at this, like not playing great. And the most important thing is they went back to their they kind of went back to their early season closing thing that they did. They played Millsap a little bit more minutes at center, which they just can't do a ton because of Gortat. And if you see, Gortat comes in right at 6:32, and they were eventually forced to bring Muscala in, who almost fouled out himself. The fouls this game, I mean, extraordinary. Look at these personal fouls: 5, 5, 4, 3, 3. Like and this is on the Atlanta side. Look at the Washington side. 2, okay, well, 5, 4, 5, 3, 4, 3. Like the whole team was getting fouled out. But ultimately, I think for sure Markieff Morris in play. I would kind of mix and match, play some Keefe, play some Sap. Don't play them together probably. I am a little bit curious about Muscala. I think he will get that 20 minutes again. Howard has just not looked good. He looks uninterested. He's clogging the lane. Like he doesn't have value if he can't just absolutely dominate a matchup. And specifically going against Gortat, and Jack likes to talk about it, but yeah, the former teammates in Howard and Gortat, and they never liked each other, and they especially didn't like it. Like, yeah, it was ugly, really ugly. So, Gortat might just be kind of imposing his will out of just spite. Gortat's up to 6K. I think he played maybe 1 or 2 extra minutes because of all the foul trouble and stuff like that. Because even Jason Smith got in foul trouble, and I don't think you have to go back to the well there. These blocks are probably an anomaly of sorts. So I mean, if you like take away the blocks, right? Let me cover up the blocks. Look at that game and then look at the game before. He added a steal, basically 3 assists, so he would have had 36 fantasy points. So not exactly an amazing outing, but still very much in play. I think it would be kind of sneaky to correlate your Paul Millsap with a share of Jason Smith, who also had a fantastic game, but purely driven off the foul trouble. Both Otto Porter and Markieff Morris got in almost immediate foul trouble. So, okay, Paul Millsap, you're going to be aggressive. Why not? You're going to take Markieff out of the game. Sure. You still got to get Oubre in foul trouble too, which he did to fully unlock any minutes for Jason Smith. I think there's a chance he finally has a big game in front of his fams with regard to Dwight. Well, let's take a look. I don't know how much the typing is coming across, but we'll just pretend that that's actually me. Okay, a little bit rebound. Interesting. Dwight Howard rebound percentage. A little bit elevated. Oh, look at that. How does that make any sense? He shot 8-9% better at home. Played more minutes at home, but had less points than on the road. That's kind of interesting. I like the field goal percentage for centers. Crazy. Now, as all the haters out there will still staunchly denied, we talked about those Ryan Anderson home splits. And I would say that they were correct. Man, Jonas Valanciunas is way too cheap. He's getting the minutes. He's getting some minutes, but he's getting stretched out is the problem. Sorry to backtrack, but if Casey's going to be more actively matching him up with a non-stretchy center in Greg Monroe, there's a little bit of upside there. Ba, ba, ba. Right. So back to the game. Wizards. So Gortat still in play. Blocks. Those blocks. Whew, can't necessarily count on them. I do like the Jason Smith, uh, and specifically the Otto Porter, Markieff Morris fades with the Millsap play. As for shooting guard, right, we have Bradley Beal. Had a much better game, but potentially had elevated usage maybe because of the foul trouble. Let's take a look at his shot attempts. Bradley Beal, 27 shots. And let's take a look at Atlanta. He was in foul trouble that game. Yeah, 27 shots and too crazy. I think he's in play. I'm a little committed to trying to work in DeMar, who is now only. Can you believe that? Like DeMar DeRozan, guy that was like 92 in the regular season at one point, and Bradley Beal was almost about to touch 6K. I think they are now almost the same price. Do you think he's in play? And then obviously Wallstar, 10-8. I've been playing him. I think he still has the 60 fantasy point upside. I am curious how many people will have him. I know they'll probably gravitate to the uh, Portland Golden State game, but I don't know. John Wall's typically pretty popular regardless of scenario or slates or any of that kind of thing. Now, on the other side, we've already touched on, um, uh, we touched on Howard, we touched on Millsap. Man, it's a pretty thin play, but a share of Muscala wouldn't kill you. And I didn't look at Howard's price though. Man, 6'3", are you serious? Are you serious? Look at look at that rebound differential from game to game. I know he played 9 more minutes, but that's only 50% more minutes, and he had half uh, the rebounds. Not sure what I want to do there. Again, it's GPP strategies, right? We're taking a lower owned slumping DeMar who is very pricely close to a Bradley Beal, and we could take a center who is slumping that has upside, that is right, almost like same exact price as a guy that could be more popular. I'm gonna put him in the lineup for now. Take him out later. Sorry, I am DMing CJ. CJ says I've done something wrong. Let's take a look. Oh shit. Okay. Nope. All right then. You guys are getting some behind the scenes crazy studio stuff going on. Live streaming. Well, that's where I am. Says it's offline, but it's very clearly online because we're here. Did that fix anything? I don't know. There it is. Okay. Saved. Hey, can you guys still hear me? It said it was not doing anything for some reason. Hello. Hello. Somebody say something in chat if you can hear me. Because it for some reason thought, oh, yeah, how weird. I mean, you saw the link, right? Or the thing, it said that it was, it said that it wasn't. Oh, lineup note. Dwayne Casey says he'll make changes to the Raptors lineup in the upcoming game. Well, I don't know, guys. Might be a complete shocker, but what do you think that they maybe might start PJ Tucker? Maybe they won't start. Maybe they won't start not DeMar Carroll, but maybe they won't start Jonas Valanciunas. Now, if they don't start Jonas, man, that means we're gonna get 100%. Like, you're gonna tell me that like 100% of Jonas's minutes will be near the rim at least? That's good to me, and would raise the potential playableness, because that's a word, of PJ Tucker. I think because then he will get a little bit longer, more guaranteed minutes. Interesting. I'll have to keep an eye on that. I do want to see what that lineup might be. Fortunately, my entire feed is just crowded with baseball stuff. Crazy. Okay. Do Paul and Dwight have bad correlation? Paul Millsap, Dwight Howard. No, not really. It's not so much that it's. I wouldn't say that they have bad correlation. Dwight doesn't shoot that much. But I do think that for Paul Millsap to get kind of his highest end production. We would want him to get some minutes at center. Now the thing is, a lot of the time he does get minutes at center. Like it's like a lot of times it could just be in relief of Dwight, so it doesn't actually have to directly take from him. Like between Dwight and Muscala, like they did have a real center out there for quite a lot of the game. So I'm not gonna say 100% yes. They have that they have a bad correlation or no correlation or anything like that. I just don't think it's strong, one way or the other. For Tim Hardaway Jr., he kind of predictably, to me at least, was not doing too great, like I kind of expected him to. This whole series, the defense of of a John Wall and a Bradley Beal, pretty good, pretty good defense, pretty good defensive backcourt. In fact, I would probably bet that if anything, he started producing late because they switched to a 3 guard lineup, and maybe he was getting switched on to Otto Porter a good amount because when they go the 3 guard lineup, when they go um, Schroeder, Hardaway, and Bazemore, Tim Hardaway plays the 3 in that lineup. So look, Tim Hardaway at shooting guard, literally -1. Tim Hardaway mostly at shooting guard, barely anything. Tim Hardaway playing a lot of small forward maybe here, although Dennis Schroeder wasn't in, so I guess he was probably, yeah, no, he was still playing. He was playing small forward for a lot of this, and a little bit more successful, a little bit more successful, and just went on an insane run. Don't want to bank on that. Don't want to bank on that crazy, potentially outlier production. 5K. I mean, he's gonna get the minutes, and shit. Like, look, he didn't even have a good game. So I don't know what to say about that. A little bit disappointed in Kent Bazemore because I had a lot of him, and he was on track to do really well. I think it was like 13.25 or something like that fantasy points at the half. And then in terms of minutes, right? Like he played that second half. He played more than he did in the first half, I believe. Yeah, played 5 there, 5.5 there. Played a couple minutes there. Yeah, like he played good minutes. Don't know what happened. I don't mind going back to the well there. He's been continuously pretty low owned just because of the fact that he was coming off the bench and all sorts of questions surrounding his health and stuff. Again, this is not like this is how I like save my thoughts almost. On DK especially, this is why I've been doing a lot better on DK. Is I'll work through slates like this and I'll start putting in guys that I like, and then once I start finding guys that I like better, then I'll start swapping those guys in. Look at these god awful lineups from last night. Real terrible. So bad. I think some of them cashed. These, on the other hand, were effing lit. And all the Chirinos. All the Chirinos. All the Chirinos. All the Chirinos. Yeah, let's get rid of that though, just so it's not crowding and everything. Okay. So I think you go back to the well on Bazemore. He's cheap. He's got the upside. He's going to get a decent amount of minutes. And if you're wondering, yes, have been purposely skipping a certain player because it's probably one of my favorite options. A guy I think that would be decently interesting, and man, I know you guys are gonna be like, no, don't want to do it. Taurean Prince looks good. Like he looks good on the court, like really good. He's just young, and he's doing a lot more defensive stuff than he's doing stuff on the offensive end. But man, just seems like he could have a 30 fantasy point game just watching him play. But yeah, I'm obviously hesitant to go there. We know a guy like Kent Bazemore is cheaper, is a guy that will hoist up 10 shots, be active on the defensive end, right? Just don't get in foul trouble, buddy. And then last, but okay, well, a few. Trying to get to some crazy sound effects, but it did not work. So we're just gonna have to make up some sound effects. Whatever, drum roll. Dennis Schroeder, right? Big consistency. I talked about him in that very first podcast, the very first podcast for this, and was being vehemently fought against at his playability. And I was just like, well, come on, man. Like, he's 7K. He's going to be the primary ball handler. He's going to get the minutes. The pace should be decent. Why not? Why not, And, well, yeah. Why the hell not, right? This was his production that game. This is his production the next game. And based on the algorithm on DK, it factors in very heavily to ownership. And, well, look at that. His price is going down. It's been continuing. It's crazy to me. I probably will have a decent amount of shares. And I don't even care if he's popular, just because of how the pricing and stuff works out. Like, getting that almost 50 fantasy point upside from Schroeder at that price is just incredible to me, especially on a slate like this, where we're looking to sometimes, right? We're not going full stars and scrubs. But yeah, let's switch over to this abortion of a game, which, man, the analysis for this can be, I think, both easy and difficult, just because last game was obviously kind of an outlier, right? There's no chance that they're going to get blown out again. They being San Antonio. I refuse to believe it. But let me get open some of this stuff for that. Meanwhile,
the one area, as Randolph puts it on the deck against Aldridge and goes to work with 4 on the shot clock, Mark's got to launch a deep two that goes. With Aldridge, he has this couple three-point shot, but his preference is from the corner where he shoots 44%. Carter, pocket pass, Randolph hooks it up and in.
So Vince Carter has done everything and above.
2 assists.
So how much do you guys love Greg Popovich? So I know you guys might be unfamiliar with this again, with the popcorn machine. The length, right? This is the minutes that they played, kind of. So it's like, if you play the entire fourth quarter, the bar will extend all the way across, but for the fourth quarter. So look at the starters. Look at these. Look at this. These are all the starters down here, right? Yeah, Pop not happy. Pop not happy at all about the start of that game. Pretty pissed too. I was pretty confident that LMA might be able to turn it around this game, and because just there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to. And look at that, 30 minutes. Like, he should have played 40 minutes, like 30 minutes and 30 minutes, right? These were both blowouts, but both ways in close games. He's playing a lot of minutes. A lot of freaking minutes. Could go overlooked. I don't necessarily think he will go overlooked, but you can come into the lineup because I like him probably more than Dwight Howard. Even though I think raw upside, Dwight does have that fantastic 50 fantasy point raw upside. And I'm pretty sure LaMarcus Aldridge has not actually scored 50 fantasy points in any game this season. If he did, it was probably one. So he's another guy, right? We're looking again on these sites. We want those a variety of things, right? The very, very low end price guys that can perform well, but also the mid-range kind of more budgety guys, pricing inefficiencies. We like pricing inefficiencies however they rear their head, whether it be a very expensive guy who is not expensive enough, right? That was James Harden yesterday at 11K or whatever he was. It was just, you can't have James Harden 11K. That's still a pricing inefficiency that you need to attack. And LMA, well, you know what? He actually has been not performing at his 6K price tag all season, but it's just the fact that he can play elevated minutes, and he still is capable. He still is capable. Tony Parker, don't hate going back to the well on Tony Parker. Like career bad game. Again, the zeros, right? The first one is points. The second one is peripheral stats minus turnovers. Yeah, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Yeah, he had a single rebound and a turnover, and that was it. Or 2 rebounds and a turnover. Something absolutely ludicrous. But I gotta imagine he's still cheap. If he's not super cheap, he's still 4,200. So he's in play. I don't see why not. Patty Mills, Jack kind of called that one. He did have a more productive game, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's an outlier. Like he just took all the shots that he had been taking that we had talked about, right? He only took 3 shots in that first quarter on a decent amount of minutes. He just happened to hit them, and that's all we were looking for. We were looking for not regression, right? Because we're not expecting him to make all of his shots, but we'll call it positive variance. Positive variance. So definitely in play, and I'll work more in probably shooting guard Danny Green. Looks like he did shit, but again, right, made none. Like the first game, said okay, whatever. He had those 4 blocks, but then I was like, okay, if you reduce the blocks, but let him make a couple shots, then he does have a little bit more upside. And in the next game, shot 4 for 5, but didn't have the peripherals as much. So I do think that there is the potential for Danny Green to have a better game. His price is getting a little bit up there, 4K. The reason why we liked him that other game was because he was 3,300, but ownership drove him up. And I do think he has a realistic ceiling of closer to 20. So I'm probably going to stray away. Manu is just a guy that I throw in occasionally because, you know, he is a guy that can do a whole lot. If it's really just because he's playing Memphis, I think. If he were not playing Memphis, you know, like Manu Ginobili getting 19 minutes in a playoff game, like I would expect him to do a lot. I would expect him to do a lot. He's going to have a lot of steals. He's going to have a lot of assists. He'll even get the points. Right. So imagine here, and again, this isn't a bad matchup, but imagine he made one of these 3-pointers, 1 3-pointer. 17. Okay. Well, now he's getting closer to like 18 fantasy points. Now just 2 shots, 2 of these 3-pointers, or a 3-pointer and the one layup or whatever the hell that he missed. Fine. Well, okay. Now you're getting 20 fantasy points from a 3K guy. Don't completely hate it. And again, in a closer game, Manu will play more. Don't currently have a spot for him because being filled by Mr. Kent Bazemore. I still do like Kent Bazemore. I'm gonna play Kent Bazemore. Just gonna throw Manu in there though. Gonna throw Manu in there for now because I'll remember to play Kent Bazemore when I go back later. I won't remember that maybe I wanted a share of Manu. Small forward, right? Kawhi Leonard. Oh shit, Kawhi, what you doing there, buddy? Welcome down the trip to the Twilight Zone, where Kawhi Leonard doesn't play an amazing game of basketball and gets his ass handed to him. Yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy. I don't think people will be off him on either site. His ownership has been usually in the upper ends of even over a Paul George and stuff like that because of price, pure price. People see Kawhi Leonard, they see 9K, or I think at the time he was 8,800 that first one, and they see another guy who's 10K and they say, "Yeah, they're the same person. They're the same. So why not?" Center, I've been harping on this continuously. Pau Gasol is going to get the minutes. Dwayne Dedmon is having an absolute, just awful, atrocious, bad time with this team. He just can't handle the physicality. He can't handle the craftiness of Conley, or the size and dominance of Marc Gasol. So he's going to get the minutes. Took 9 shots last game, right? And I don't think he played much garbage time. Again, yeah. Like I was harping on the last podcast. I was like, man, if Pau Gasol played the fourth and kind of in that first game, I was like, if Pau Gasol played the fourth, he could have played significant minutes. Look how much fucking time Pau Gasol is playing. Imagine it wasn't a blowout, right? Now he did sub in real quick because of this, so we'd cut off maybe to like here is when he would enter, like kind of ish, even though again, personal foul turnover, 9-10. Well, guess how long he played till? Yeah, 9-10. Not surprising, but I'm gonna keep playing him. I think I'm gonna keep playing him. I think he's getting the time, more than the time, just because of the size of Memphis and again Dwayne Dedmon's inability to do anything. So he's so cheap. I don't think people are really on him. They're not playing him. Maybe we'll sorry, Jason Smith. Now I don't actually want all of these guys together, so maybe I think you can. I think you can put those guys together, but maybe I'm so sorry, Jason. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. Come back, baby. Come back to me. Right. So that's kind of my thoughts on the Spurs. He's not in my fake lineup. Maybe we'll put him in there. We'll get Tony Parker back in here. Do you think Patty Mills could go in there? Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat notes. So yeah, I cashed. Every lineup that I did cash with, they all had Tony Parker in them, for whatever reason. Because I guess it got me off of I don't know, all the guys that did even not worse, but or maybe more expensive that did bad. Okay, from the Memphis side. Okay, show of hands of anybody that remembered me going on and on and on and on about Zach Randolph before even the series started, specifically about the series though. Jack laughed at me. People mocked me. Even after this game, right? Because so before the game, people were mocking me. After the game, they definitely were mocking me. Like, oh, look, he sucks. He's slow. Zebo can't do anything. Yeah, go shove it up your freaking pie holes because, destroyed the next game. Yeah, you really thought that Zebo was going to shoot 3 for 13 and have 3 rebounds against the team that he has destroyed over and over and over again, not only this season, but multiple seasons. Yeah, no effing kidding. Finally, closer game, played more minutes. Just fucking wrecked him. Damn near killed him. Damn, is he expensive. I almost, and I probably won't have any shares, except for like maybe one that I'll force in. But I think now he's getting into the contrarian due to price type of play. But it is kind of interesting because he's priced at the same, if you recall, right, when we were looking at this, right, he is obviously significantly pricier, but it's close, and he's center eligible. So maybe if you're making a bunch of lineups, feel free to maybe pivot in just a little bit of Zebo at center in those dupes, just because if he ends up scoring more than them, you know, that is a distinct possibility. That is something that he could do. There's no reason why he can't drop 40. His minutes, like, I wouldn't say that like I don't know for sure if he got pulled just for blowout. We would expect him to come out here at this point anyway, because he just doesn't, I don't think he has the stamina necessarily. But he would have come back in. He would have come back in right around where these guys popped in. So yeah, he did lose a couple minutes. So looking at the box score production of him, right, 33 fantasy points in 30, so a little bit more than a fantasy point per minute. So had he come back in, I don't know, let's just spot him like 5 fantasy points, which coincidentally is exactly in the one below is exactly what happened. So, you know, 30, like, yeah, you're going to get 38. You're going to get that close to 40 at 6.5. That's fantastic. Especially, I think in terms of like macro level, looking at the slate and stuff like that, like I think Zach Randolph pays off, not necessarily by any amount of raw points. It just has to be more raw points than a Gortat and a Howard and, you know, similarly situated players. Like he probably, you know, you also need him to do significantly better than a LaMarcus Aldridge, who is cheaper. Kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. But we do like attacking San Antonio with these bigs, especially bigs that can shoot like Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol is finally starting to look real aggressive now. He was not being aggressive during the season, not at all, except for like totally random games. It was impossible to figure out, you know, when he was going to be really aggressive. But, you know, 7 free throws, not bad. 36 minutes, 35 fantasy points. Again, our kind of meter is we're asking what can he do in relation to the other centers? What can, like, how often, I guess, does he beat Gortat? Well, didn't beat him the last 2 games. And that could coincide with Dwayne Dedmon playing less minutes. That could coincide with a little bit more with maybe playing a little bit more next to Randolph. Could, you know, just be the fact that Dwayne Dedmon's getting pulled earlier, and now he's facing his brother. Right? Speaking of which, I don't think I've used it yet, but yeah, haven't mentioned it once, but yeah, technically is a Pau Gasol revenge game. Pau Gasol was like one of the franchise leading scorers for a little bit there in Memphis. And the Lakers traded Marc Gasol for Pau Gasol, which was at the time absolutely batshit insane because Marc Gasol was like this. Like, look at this. Look at this. Yeah, this is pretty much what they got. This is pretty much what the Grizzlies got. Oh, shit. Boy, did he ever change. Right? If you guys thought I was lying, there's Pau Gasol, who looked absolutely exactly the same when he was He was at Memphis forever ago. But I mean, yeah. Look, big chubby Marcus Saul. Big chubby Marcus Saul. Big old Jack Marcus Saul. Ooh, yeah. Definitely do think he's in play. He just has tremendous upside, like just raw upside with the threes and the playmaking and stuff like that. We know that he can just smash everybody. It's more of just price prohibitive / there are so many options that also have higher upside. Jack keeps trying to force Vince Carter into his lineups. Well, guess what? I don't have any sound effect, but I would play Hit the Road Jack if I had it, because why the hell do I want to play 40-year-old Vince Carter getting guarded by the best defensive player in the entire game of basketball? I don't. Look at some of these, some games like 5, 8, 7 shots. Look at like in terms of minutes and stuff like that. Obviously, New York was a little bit of an outlier too, but 10, 7, 8. Well, what's the outlier? Oh, this is his prior game against San Antonio. Yeah, people don't take a lot of shots against Kawhi Leonard, unless they're just completely open. And Enos is just so much slimmer than Vince Carter that it doesn't quite make sense to have to switch Green and Kawhi Leonard on Enos and Carter. And he's not really that much of a scoring threat either. I do like James Ennis. He is continually getting in foul trouble, but he does provide some offense. He does provide multiple category upside, and he is hella cheap. Now, his price has been going up and up and up. I wanted to play him. I played him the first game at 2,800. I played him the next game at 2,800, but shit balls, he did well that game. So I think this is the one where he started the second half. I played Zebo and Enos, expecting them to get hopefully some increase in playing time. Yeah, and he did well. And again, this was a blowout. This last one was a blowout. Enos has had health problems this whole season, so I would be shocked to see him have played the entire fourth quarter. Yeah, it looks like he kind of came in the middle, played a little bit, which, man, a lot of his production was against nobody basically. Doesn't dissuade me too much. If you look, his foul trouble is what's getting him. See, when I pull these up and I see these weird gaps, you look, when was the last personal foul? 424. How long did he play till? Oh, he played till 424. So we could see a minutes boost. He's cheap, but he's not super cheap. So that is a little bit concerning. So he would have to be a guy where I think you just pencil him in for exactly, you say, he's going to get exactly 20 fantasy points. Am I okay with that? Because we do have a Bazemore at 4,400, which is obviously a lot more expensive. But a Bazemore could get 30. I don't think James Ennis is ever going to get you 30, which is, that's fine. Whatever. Right, talk about him. Shooting guards. I know I'm kind of going all over the place with this, but I'm working more through like a strategic mindset, and it doesn't work to go position by position that way. Andrew Harrison, surprisingly, got his production in, I don't know, not garbage time. Zach Lowe, smart basketball guy, was really lobbying, saying, stop playing Wayne fucking Selden, or Andrew Harrison or any of these guys. He's like, I know Troy Daniels sucks on defense, just atrocious, the absolute worst. But you need shooting. You don't have any shooting. Unfortunately, because they won, I don't think that's going to happen. And now that I'm looking at this, how did Wayne Selden actually do off the bench? You'll notice that when he doesn't have to guard Kawhi Leonard, does a little bit better. It's not that he was getting guarded by Kawhi Leonard now. I mean, Danny Green's a great defender in his own right, especially against like isolation plays and stuff like that from wings. But he's not amazing. But still, the fact that Wayne Selden had to guard Kawhi Leonard and then be guarded by Danny Green on the other end was bad. Let's see if yeah, it's hard to rely too much on these minutes to know what he would get in a non-blowout type game, because it was a blowout. I guess it was close in the first half. So Wayne Selden's kind of interesting. He is that sub 3K guy that like nobody's gonna play him. Nobody's gonna play him. And we've seen on some of these slates, right? Like, as crazy as it sounds, 17 fantasy points from a sub 3K guy on these playoff slates, and how it's been working. Actually could get you there. Could get you there. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I think that was everybody. Did I miss anybody? Class? Did I miss anyone? I played some Jermichael Green last game because coming off the bench, I thought he had some elevated upside. He'd probably grab some more boards, maybe take a couple more shots. It looks like he did that. I don't know if that was just, again, because of the blowout. No, looks like J Mike played about close to what I would have expected him to play in terms of rotations and when he's coming in, when he's coming out, stuff like that. Maybe he would have picked up even a minute or two. He would have to be really cheap though. What's his price? 3,300. Yeah, I would consider some. I'd consider some if you needed it. Okay. Is anyone awake? Is everyone awake still? Nobody's awake. Everyone is sleeping.
Continuous country.
I did not talk about Conley, and I should have talked about Conley. I'm unintentionally, I think, skipping over the place where I'm just like, yeah, that guy. His price now is approaching 8K, and I think his upside is for like 45 fantasy points ish. Like I think his best game is going to be 45 against San Antonio. I know he hasn't done that well against them in the past. Because really, like, he's either going to take less shots or slightly higher contested shots. I believe, and I can't believe I'm just now remembering this. I believe they did switch Danny Green onto him a fair amount in the earlier matchups, at least. But yeah, I mean, the upside is clearly there. Clearly there. Man, it's hard for me to pass up 7.2 for Schroeder if I'm looking in that range. So hard, so difficult. But maybe I could consider it. Now, man, the potentially juicy game, or is it? Because I think well, it killed me. I don't know if you guys saw. Did you guys see my train that I ran on accident because Locke hit me before I was ready for it? With JaVale McGee was my center. I made a quick lineup in the late slate, and I didn't have enough money to get any of the centers that I wanted. So JaVale was the only one that fit. So I decided, screw it, and I put JaVale in, and I would have, I think, damn near shipped first through whatever fifth in that thing if Mo Harkless hadn't killed me. He did so well. He did so well, and I wasn't necessarily expecting that, which maybe I should have, just because they don't play. I mean, the Golden State Warriors don't necessarily play like a ton of like man defense necessarily all the time. Draymond Green has not, like, for whatever reason, I guess, power forwards against Golden State Warriors have been doing well all season, and it could just be from a lack of rim protection. But I don't think Mo Harkless went off because of necessarily a lack of rim protection. But man, that definitely did hurt. And I was just stalling. Honestly, I was just stalling because I just,
In the night, I hear him talk, the coldest story ever told. Somewhere far along this road, he lost his soul to a woman so heartless. How could you be so heartless? Oh, how could you be so heartless?
Yeah, Mo, how could you be so Dr. Evil on my bitch ass? Yeah, no, I mean, he's a guy that we play for the peripheral stats. That's a lot of the time why we play him, is because he can do all of the things. And now he's taking threes again because his contract says he can. Now, how hilarious is it to me? At least I think that. Do you think that he accidentally, like at least in the interim, maybe hurt his 3-point shooting because he hadn't been taking any in game, so now he is still fighting that urge to be like, no, don't shoot. Oh no, I can shoot the three now, because it's not going to affect his contract, and he's not shooting it well. Imagine, I mean, but do imagine, right? We know based on that contract that he's a 35% 3-point shooter, so that could go up, and he could play more minutes, right? Like look what happened in this game. Uh, Durant is still questionable, I believe, right? Does anybody know if I have not been following the old Twitter? Does anyone know if Durant or anything's been ruled in? I'll do a quick check. Kevin Durant, Sean Livingston, and Matt Barnes remain questionable. Thanks, guys. That's splendid. That really helps me out a ton. Kind of leaning towards like if Yusuf Nurkic is not going to play, which I believe he's doubtful now. They have no reason. They have no reason to really want to force Durant back in. But in the same token, and I promise I'm not just randomly skipping around. On the same token, it was just calf cramps, supposedly. Like if he has a legitimate strain, I would hope they'd say something. But if it's just cramps, like then they're just being cautious. They don't want it. They don't want it to turn into a strain, which would be happen if he really played hard on it. But my whole point for that was that I think there's a potential that, right, Mo Harkless did better because he is a guy that they do want to spend time guarding Durant, and you know, well, maybe it shows in these 5 personal fouls, right? His well, I won't call it lower, like the blocks and stuff. Like it's going to be a little bit easier to block these non 7-foot behemoths like Durant. Durant providing incredible rebounding this season for the Golden State Warriors. Well, look, right? Mo's rebounding goes up. So I would maybe correlate him with with Durant's status. We might not know. So I kind of auto register to the late slates because I've been doing really well on them. So I would leave it at that for Mo. And again, if you haven't noticed, I am almost very intentionally starting with the role players on teams because for these slates, you know, that's what we're really trying to dig into. We obviously know a lot about all the studs and their expected ownership and their expected production and all that stuff. So we really do want to kind of dig into these lower profile guys. Noah Vonleh, man, and Zach Lowe again, smart basketball guy. I was looking at the old one. Wait. Am I tripping? What did Did I have the wrong one up? Wrong one open? Okay, am I crazy? Because obviously Kevin Durant did not play in the next game. Maybe that will do it? No. Oh. Not technically savvy my ass, CJ. I just manipulated the data. Just got all crazy with it. Yeah, so I played a dick load of Ian Clark last time, and boy, did I get bailed out because he didn't do shit. He didn't do a damn thing until just the purest form of garbage time. Right. So Noah Vonleh anyway. He's just not. This is a bad matchup for him. This is a bad matchup for him. Not an individual matchup, right? It's not necessarily like Zaza is the worst matchup for him, even though Zaza is not really a good matchup for him. But just people, all these cutting and having to close out, and just so much stuff you got to worry about when facing the Warriors. Like he finally wasn't in foul trouble at least this game, not as much, and he still didn't produce. I'm very hesitant to want to go back to that guy. And I'll cover Golden State in a sec. How much time do we have for lock? Okay, at the 30-minute mark, I'll probably wrap this up so I can actually make a damn lineup other than the one that we're working on here. Evan Turner, yeah, why not? Go back to him. 5K. His upside, right, is probably more in the 25-ish category, just because he's not a prolific shooter and he is tasked with doing a lot of defensive stuff. But I think I think maybe they'll give him the minutes. I wouldn't be surprised. They really should be bringing him. I almost want them to bring him off the bench because he is more of a ball handler. He thrives a lot as a guy that can assist and make plays and then use his kind of mid-range abilities as like a bailout shot for himself if he can't create. And just the threat of the mid-range from him definitely get him some look. Allen Crabbe, I think we talked about before the series started, and I kind of deferred to Jack on this because I originally was like really considering playing him, and Jack said, why don't we wait till he's at home? I don't know if it's even shows up exactly in the numbers. By the way, you guys should be building lineups right now and just kind of listening to me. So we'll go, sorry, Jack, we're going with effective field goal percentage. Shove it up your ass. Holy mother of God. Okay. Remember when I said Ryan Anderson? I was like, wow, look at these Rhino splits, right? These are Rhino-esque, right? 63 effective. Okay. For example, Kevin Durant has a fucking 63% effective field goal percentage. That is elite. Elite. Look, that was Kevin Durant. Who else? Steph Curry. Steph Curry has a 63 effective field goal percentage at home. By the way, look at these crazy row splits too. Yeah, you guys are not missing this. Allen Crabbe effectively shoots the same as Kevin Durant and Steph Curry when he's at home. Geez, sorry, Jack. I didn't mean to doubt you on that one. And he's small forward eligible. That's fantastic. Get the fuck out of here, Jason Smith, you garbage bastard. Come get in here, my little crabby, my crab friend, my little crabby patty. Actually, I'm sorry I said that to you, Jason Smith. I'm so sorry. Hold on. No, I didn't mean all that stuff about you, Jason. I was just being funny because the guys were listening. Yeah, so holy crap with those Allen Crabbe shooting splits. Definitely, I mean, nobody is going to have Allen Crabbe. Not a single person, and I think he could get the minutes because they need the shooting. In terms of the more starry-eyed Portland Trailblazers, you know, did they quote unquote figure CJ out? Man, I don't know. I don't think so. I did not mention, I don't think on the last podcast, or maybe I did, that the defensive efficiency, the scheming, everything for the Golden State Warriors was better with Durant out. When Durant was out, the pace, they slowed the pace all the hell the way down, and the defensive numbers really went up, which is crazy because of how good Kevin Durant's been on defense. But I think it's kind of attributable to the pace, honestly. The defensive numbers, the raw ones that people would cite to, probably don't account for the fact maybe that of how much that pace affects things. So they were giving up a lot more points, but people might have been shooting worse. CJ McCollum, I'd hop back on if people are not going to play him. I don't think so. I think a lot of people, for whatever reason, this is how a lot of analysis works for people that are game log or box watching, as they say, 56 fantasy points. That's really good. 20 fantasy. Oh, not as good. The minutes or whatever. Like, he could probably get there. Like, he's fine. So maybe he will still be a little bit popular. But again, right, we're trying to find, like, is there a chance, right? Just the lower, potentially lower owned DeMar DeRozan at 800 more could get 10 more fantasy points than him? I think so. Lillard, wow, Lillard, you are too cheap. Yeah, you are too cheap. He's too cheap. 8K. Stupid. At home. Damian Lillard at home. Sorry, pal. Yeah, I don't think I need to really go into any advanced stats or analysis there. Damian Lillard is at home. He is 8K. If the game stays at all close, he's going to play 40 minutes. He's going to take like a billion shots, and like a billion of them might go in. Meanwhile, on the other side, you know, they might try some stuff.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
Yeah. In your face, Curry. In your goddamn face. Steph Curry, also probably cheap. I intentionally faded Curry last game just because I thought he was going to be very highly owned, and you know, the Blazers, Trailblazers, defense is not that bad, not that bad at all. I probably got a little lucky. The game stayed just a hair closer, right? If the game stayed like a hair closer, if he played those extra 5 minutes, you know, shot a little bit better, right? He could have done really well. Now, Steph Curry, as you saw, he also has these pretty severe splits. Specifically, how do I do this? Free field goal percentage. That, look at that. 35%, right? Again, we were talking about it. That was 35% was what Mo Harkless needed to shoot from 3 to get his contract bonus. Mo Harkless, greatest off the dribble 3-point shooter, obviously, of all time. 46%. There are centers probably that score 46% at the rim. That's amazing. But he's now on the road. Now, I will say that when he is on the road, man, I want to say that it's not showing up in the raw numbers and stuff, but he actually does end up, he can kind of match the production. He takes more shots. Norman Powell expected to start ahead of Jonas Valanciunas, everybody. God damn it, did I call the wrong one? Yeah. Play some Norman Powell. Don't go too crazy, because I guess we would expect that his minutes will probably correlate with Thon's minutes, right? When Thon comes out, that means Greg Monroe's coming in, which means Norman Powell could come out and Jonas would come in. So play some Jonas, play some Ibaka, right? Ibaka starting at center. It's going going center off the jump, which is great. Play some Jonas though. Play some Jonas. Now we have a guarantee. We have a guarantee that Jonas Valanciunas, for the minutes that he does play, should always be against a center that doesn't shoot threes and will not stretch him out, and he can be a little bit closer to the rim for all of his minutes. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up in the next like 2 seconds because I also have to make lineups. Clay, everybody jumped on Clay. By the way, guys, I am assuming that Durant's gonna be out. Not a lock. Not a lock. Yeah, didn't play Clay. Even with Durant out all season, or not all season, when Durant has been out, Clay has typically taken the same amount of shots as normal, made the same amount as normal. So I just kind of asked myself, I was like, would I be loading up on a shitload of Clay if Durant were playing? And I said, no. So I said, well, I'm not going to play him. I'm not going to play him. Iggy, definitely still in play. Price is up. But if Durant and Livingston and Barnes are all going to sit, you know, if the game were to stay close, like he would have played a lot more. Would have played a lot more. I mean, he did play. I mean, wait. Oh man, I'm looking at the freaking. They got me again. They got me again, guys. Yeah. So Iggy didn't close out the game, which he would have. Would have probably played this entire fourth quarter, or maybe would have subbed in a little bit. Maybe would have subbed in a little bit later, but yeah, we would expect him to get his 32, like 35 minutes. Is expensive, but oh, he's got multi position eligibility. That's cool. If Durant does get ruled in and there's no mention of like a restriction or anything on him, man, go ahead, load up. Low owned, right? Low owned Kevin Durant on a slate like that. I skipped over Al-Farouq Amino. I do apologize. We did mention that he probably could have some shooting regression in the positive way. I think there's a small chance he gets a little bit more minutes at the expense of Noah Vonleh. I think they might opt to play Al-Farouq Amino a little bit more at center because he and Mo can switch and do all sorts of stuff and defend, not the pick and roll, but kind of guys coming off screens and trying to switch guards onto bigs and stuff like that. Like Noah Vonleh just gets roasted, whereas Amino has some hope to handle that. Draymond Green, yeah, I mean he's finally priced up. Dude made one field goal last game, played less minutes than we would have expected, played way less minutes than we expected. He made one field goal, had 44 fantasy points. That is absolutely bonkers, batshit crazy, insane, in the membrane. Sorry, Mr. Millsap, you're out, which means Jason Smith now has to go. And do we have anybody in that range for now? Oh, I guess we do, because we have one Norman Powell. And we do expect his minutes to correlate a little bit more with Thonmaker's minutes. So yeah, I'll leave it like that. Although now I have all this extra monies. What am I going to do? For center on Golden State Warriors. Yeah, I know he did really well. Played 13 minutes. They were just throwing balls as hard as they could, like literally like trebucketing balls at the rim before he was even near the rim or open or anything. They were just throwing them. If you've watched Warriors games this season, you know that a lot of games have turned into like a contest between the players to see who can throw the most crazy alley-oop that to see if JaVale can get it. And all of his high shooting games, that's what they're all from, are those guys that every possession they like take turns and somebody just throws an even higher alley-oop and when he's even further away from the rim to see if he can get it, and he usually does. The 4 blocks and the steal, right, all that stuff, all outlier stuff. It just, I mean, I don't want to play him, and I wouldn't play him here. If anybody is scrolling through the game logs and stuff like that, and they see it and they're like, oh, he's an attractive play. Like if he garners any ownership, 15% even, yeah, I don't want to play him. Don't want to play him. But he does. I mean, it's undeniable that Portland has no rim protection, right? He had almost 20 fantasy points the game before. This is literally is the only reason I felt comfortable putting him in, because he's such a high fantasy point producer. And when I looked at kind of the box score, I was like, okay, that makes sense, because they don't have a big hulking center or anybody that can defend the rim. So I was a little bit comfortable putting him in my dummy lineup, which I ended up accidentally running. But yeah, so we got 3 more minutes. Shot a little bit better, right? He's gonna get the blocks. He's gonna get the rebounds. There's a lot of these. I mean, some of these are probably putbacks. I'm not gonna play him. I'm not gonna play him. And man, I think that about does it. Don't think I'll have time to answer questions because I got 20 minutes, but I guess I'll have chat open. I'll have chat open so I can at least throw in random thoughts as I'm building all my lineups. And again, when you guys ask me, wow, didn't you must have killed it last night. You must have killed it last night. You had all the right plays. And then I'm just like, nope, didn't kill it. Was too busy up until lock talking to all y'all fine folks. And yeah, didn't get all my lineups in. So because yeah, I'm making all my lineups in the last 20 minutes every slate, every day. It's just not optimal, and I'm actually probably losing more money than I'm making doing this because of it. But it's all good. This has been probably my last login, and I am signing out.